Ayo, it's Daeni and welcome back to the channel. I went to the gun range, but I don't have no gun range B-roll, no footage. Why, you ask? Because the gun range that I went to do not allow you to record or take pictures. That's fine. I have no issue with policies of individual, private. In the spirit of 2A, it just doesn't make sense to me that you can't record yourself shooting. I made a video before this, but I felt like it was a little bit too aggressive. So I decided that I'm going to redo the video and evaluate this. The issue that I have is this growing trend that seems to be kind of weird when it comes to the 2A community and the gun ranges, the place you can actually go to use your firearms or train or whatever. There seems to be an increase in rules that don't really apply to safety. It's just like random, generic, useless rules that really borderline tyranny, you know, like no open toes. I understand that, but you only learn that lesson once, but it's not going to really stop you from, you know, handling your firearms. But I could even let that one go. Same as I could understand the no photography and no videography or whatever. There's ones where they say you can't wear prescription glasses. I've seen it. And I've been to enough of these ranges now to have a general concept of what makes a range enjoyable and what drains the life from you and makes it really difficult and hard to really recommend a range, in my opinion. Okay, so that's where I'm going to go with this. I'm going to start making a very, well, it's going to be my opinion, of course, but it's going to be a very rational evaluation of some of these ranges and the rules that they enforce and how realistic it is to reality. What's going on around you, because depending on what you go to the range for, it might not be the range for you. And with that in mind, I kind of just want to be fair to the business and myself and the customers, because, you know, I'm not saying that I am a liaison for the customer in the range, but if someone has questions and they don't know what they're looking for, they should know, because I've seen insane rules, crazy price changes, like gouging prices for like ammunition and even firearms. You know, I've seen it for targets and air protection, and it's just not realistic anymore, to the point where most people, when they go to a range, they pick 2 or 3 ranges that they'll go to consistently, and maybe every fringe they'll try a different range, but they'll forget, you know, the prices and anything like that. And very few people do decent range reviews because, again, they have their favorite range and this bias. They might be a little bit biased to that range. I'm just here because after evaluating my experience, I feel like there's no voice of reason for the range, like the gun range or the 2A community, as far as a gun range is concerned. And I think that I want to fill that void to the best of my ability, at least add to that voice. Okay, so the issue that I had when I went to said specific range, and I'm not going to say any names because I think that's irrelevant at this point. In the future, I might name ranges on whether they're good or bad. I'll develop a grading system that I can use to qualify a good range, in my opinion, or a bad range. And that's all it is. It's my opinion. There's some people that's going to love these ranges. There's some people that already hate these ranges. This is just going to be my opinion. I went and I had the 5.7. Oh, I've been dying to shoot that gun. I just wanted to record myself shooting that firearm because, you know, why not? I enjoy watching myself shoot my firearms, and why not? I go, I do it. Before, I had an issue with another range, and it was a terrible range. That was a terrible range. But I don't want to get into it. I mean, it was just ridiculous. They had rules. You have to buy a target before you can. I mean, they have the most ridiculous rules that I've ever heard of when it comes to gun ranges. So I'm like, cool, I didn't do it. I still shot there because I'm here for the experience. It was terrible. This is the second time I went to a range. Now, I've been to bad ranges where it was just like ridiculous. And the rules were just overbearing. I mean, like I said, borderline tyranny. I go to this range to fire this 5.7, shoot beautifully. I'm enjoying the experience. Do you know how expensive it is to shoot 5.7? It's very expensive, in my opinion. And if I can record the moments, I at least feel like, you know, I got some value out of it. Same thing goes for any of my firearms. So I go there, I fire it, boom, I'm done. And I'm like, man, it would have been nice to share this online with my ratchet friends. Okay, well, I couldn't do that. Okay, I want to fire my Glock because I'm trying to zero, like, you know, gradually zero the RMR or the red dot or green dot in the case of the Holosun SES. And I'm trying to bring it back. And it's a beautiful process that I want to share with you guys. And I'm like, what? I can't even record that. Now I got to find a different range and try to zero it there. But I felt in that moment when I came home and I was, you know, basically ranting about my experience, that this is something that I can share with you guys, because you don't know that these ranges, or some of you don't know that these ranges are kind of taking advantage of you and the fact in your ignorance, like you don't know. No one's telling you that they're taking advantage of you, and you think that this is normal for a range. There are terrible ranges that charge you way too much money for your experience, and there are good ranges who charge you a little bit of money. It's a good value, and there's ranges who are expensive and they're worth it. And there are a lot of ranges out here now that just think because they're a gun range and guns are expensive that they have the right to be expensive too. That's not true. There are things you can do to drastically change their price and increase your experience. And if you intend on going back to the range, make it more entertaining, I guess, relevant. I don't know. It makes it more, what's the word? Intentional. Like you would want to go back to this range. It's encouraging. There you go. You have a more encouraging experience. And if you buy a brand new firearm and you want to train with it, you can go back and feel comfortable shooting at said range, because the range can kind of evolve with you at different levels. When you're a newbie in a range and they tell you got to do this, you got to do that, and it costs a lot of money, that's fine. But believe me, your fifth time at the range, you're going to start realizing you're spending a lot of money and you're not getting the value that you think you are. And you're going to start looking for new ranges. And it's just a process of wasting your time and your money. And your time and your money is very valuable. So I don't want you to think that no one's on your side. I went and I fired my relatively expensive firearms with their expensive ammunition. And while I bring everything that I need to the range, I did have to buy a target because of the way that they had the range set up. It's just weird. Like you can't really put small targets on it. You would have to get a bigger target. And then if anything, you can add stuff to that paper target. So they set it up in a way that you end up spending more money anyway, but we'll talk about that in a later video. Okay. And then, yeah, I think there's just better alternatives to what we're being provided with. So going forward, I won't really rant about the features of ranges, but I will give my opinion, things that can be improved, things that I think are non-negotiable and that definitely ruin the experience, especially when it comes to events that are supposed to be encouraging to people who aren't familiar with firearms or the two-way community. You want to be able to kind of put your best foot forward for those people, because when the time comes and the election come around and they start hearing things about firearms, you want them to say that's not true, and you want them to be more warm to the fact that you can go someplace safe and train properly and understand that weapons, they're not as dangerous as the people who use them. That's all this is. Again, I had a bad experience, but we're not going to get into that right now. We got some videos coming up, and I'm going to really talk about the breakdown that I have when it comes to going to gun ranges. And I want to share that with you, my ratchet friends, and we can go forward and encourage other people on what to look forward to or what to look out for when they go to ranges, and what to look forward to when they find a range that they want to call their home range, that value them as a customer. That's all this is. That's all this video is going to be. I apologize that I wasn't able to share my experience with you. It was really nice. You know, it's the first time firing the 5.7. It's a smooth shooter, like everyone says. So if you are in the market and looking to purchase one, I'm not going to leave you hanging. 5.7 is a good purchase, but it's more of a range gun. I didn't really get to go through the whole shebang. It is a smooth shooter. That much is true, but I was a little bit depressed. And just spending that money, and the range was expensive. I mean, think about it. I went through one box of the FM ammunition, which is like $40 because it was the federal. I already had to pay for the range, which was like $20. Well, $16 because they did law enforcement discount. I had to travel there, but I was already in the neighborhood, so that's fine. And I had to buy a target, and the restaurants around there were terrible. I mean, maybe it was me as far as my mood. I was definitely turned off from this range, and I was in the mood, and I did a video, and I didn't want to regret it. So I'm doing this video because I would just want to let you know where I'm coming from and why, you know, the content might be a little bit different, because no one talks about the ranges themselves. And I think more people should talk about the range, because that is a big part of the two-way community, at least in America. Not a lot of people can go to their backyards and shoot firearms or anything like that. So I just feel like more people need to speak about their experience and they have good recommendations, so that everyone, if you enjoy shooting your firearm and you find someplace that's great and supports that, you kind of want to share that so that more people can support the two-way community, if at least for their own private reasons. Okay. Anyway, with that said, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, etc., etc. 1.